clearly, Joey Aguilar has become the big winner out of all of this. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. All right, we will get to Texas State letting one slip away against Texas and another tough loss for App State. But I hopped on the Locked On SEC podcast yesterday with Chris Gordy. So it'll be today, I guess. We recorded it yesterday. And I hadn't really spoken about Joey Aguilar. And to me, it's clearly he's the big winner, right? The former App State quarterback transferring back home to UCLA. And then Nico bails on Tennessee, so UCLA scoops him up because he's supposed to be this big-time prospect. And sometimes people don't see what is right in front of them. All right. And a lot of times you can get two people looking at the same thing and they see two completely different things, which is funny. But everyone thinks this is Nico is this great prospect. And Tennessee did get to the playoff, losing to Ohio State last year. But Nico didn't have a great season, but he thought that he had Tennessee over a barrel, and he didn't. So he ends up leaving or getting kicked out, and he ends up at UCLA probably for less money than what he was making at Tennessee. Now, what about Joey Aguilar? So people think he gets screwed because Nico took his spot at UCLA, except he ends up at Tennessee. Now, the reports came out, I don't have weekends anymore, so I forget what day it is, Tuesday, I guess, that Tennessee saved 7 figures on the Joey Aguilar deal. Saved 7 figures. Well, reports were that Nico was getting $2.5 million at Tennessee, so if you saved 7 figures, Joey Aguilar could be getting $1 million or $1.5 million. Even if he's getting $750,000. Huge. And that's a big win for Joey Aguilar. First of all, if he's the starting quarterback for Tennessee, he just went from the Sun Belt to middle to the bottom of the pack in the Big Ten to now top of the heap-ish in the SEC. That's a huge upgrade. All right. I get it that he wanted to go home and play in the Rose Bowl. And again, I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. The Rose Bowl is like the nicest stadium and the nicest field in America. The bowl itself, can get out of my face. I'm done with the Rose Bowl. All right. So those are two different things. But if he wanted to go play back home in Southern California, that's great. Make a few bucks. Fantastic. Didn't work out. But now he gets to play in Josh Heupel's offense. And Nico and his father, or more about his father, is complaining about Josh Heupel's offense. Now, admittedly, Joey Aguilar did not have a good season in 24, right? He wasn't very good. All right. I want to get these numbers specifically because he was outstanding in 23, right? He was the Sun Belt Newcomer of the Year, leads App State along with Nate Noel and Cade Robinson to the Sun Belt Championship game. So, he was throwing 64% completion percentage, 3,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Okay. Now App State wasn't nearly as good in 24. He was down to 56%. That's not great. 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. So he threw 70 less passes, but had 4 more interceptions in 24. So it was not a great 24. And yet, what's Nico's stats, right? With a much better supporting cast. So he was 19-5. He completed 64% of his passes, only 2,600 yards. So did I see that? Hold on. Let me see what we got here. Joey Aguilar, 390 passes. All right. So he didn't throw it all that much because maybe they had a better running game. So he's 19-5. That's obviously very good. So if you double that, 38 and 10. But still 19-5 is nice. But that's mid when it comes to SEC. So Nico had a pretty good season in his first year of starting for Tennessee, but it was not, I should be getting double the amount of money you're giving me. At least I don't think so. Now, if he had 45 and 10, okay. Right? Yeah, kid deserves it. And I'm all for all the players getting whatever they want and what they can get. But Nico thought he had Tennessee over a barrel, and he didn't. So he ends up at UCLA. He's going to play in a half-filled Rose Bowl and probably get his butt kicked on more than one occasion in the Big Ten. Because UCLA is just not that good. And Tennessee could have, with Nico, maybe vie for this SEC championship. A lot of turnover, right? We don't know how Alabama's going to be. How's Auburn going to be? What's Georgia look like? There's a lot of, we're not sure what's going on here. LSU's supposed to be good. We'll see. Nussmeier's back. But I just think that Joey Aguilar, and this is going to be the difference between, and we certainly don't know, I certainly don't know the inner workings of the team, but it does feel like from the outside looking in that Nico is all about Nico. I think Joey's all about the team. All right. Now, he had one last year of eligibility. No one at App State's blaming him for going to UCLA for a few bucks. Thank you for what you did. Best of luck. We can't afford that. Now he's making more money playing for Tennessee, and he's got a real opportunity to step up. What happens if he could? No one's thinking that Joey Aguilar was getting drafted heading into this year. What happens if he shows up and shows out for Tennessee, makes the money, and now becomes, I won't say draft eligible, but, a mid-range draft pick? All of a sudden, he's somewhere between a third, fourth, fifth round pick. A lot of guys make a lot of money holding clipboards in the NFL as backup quarterbacks. Chase Daniels, for example. That's pretty good. And so I just think that Joey Aguilar goes in there, learns as much of the offense as he can before fall practice, and see if he can take the reins. Let's see what, who Tennessee is opening up with, worlds colliding, is my Syracuse Orange. That's like in the Peach Bowl. That's the first game. Yeah, that's Saturday, August 30th. I did see, by the way, Tennessee is a 12 and a half point favorite. Syracuse doesn't really know who their quarterback is either. They got Ricky Collins from LSU to be the long-term guy, but I think they just got a Notre Dame transfer. Great. I got to root for a Notre Dame quarterback. So not exactly the easiest start for Tennessee. They get Syracuse, okay, who's coming off a good year last year, but they're 2 touchdown favorites. East Tennessee State, not tough. But then they get Georgia, and that looks to be at home. And then they get UAB, Mississippi State, Arkansas. Can I tell you right now, if you're a Tennessee fan, is that the most difficult of all schedules? It's just Georgia in there, right? I mean, I love my Orange, but that game's in Atlanta. East Tennessee State should be a win. All right, Georgia's at home. Then you get UAB. You're at Mississippi State. They're not very good. And you get Arkansas at home. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, anything less than 4-2, you're going to be disappointed. And you probably should be 5-1. And if you're any good, you may be 6-0. Let's just see what, out of curiosity, the UCLA schedule is. Let's see what they are. All right. They're starting out with Utah. That's going to be 0-1. I'm not sure what the quarterback is against UNLV, but we'll just say they're better than UNLV. So that's 1-1. New Mexico is probably a win. So that's 2-1. Northwestern could be a loss. That's at Northwestern. Northwestern's better than expected. Penn State, Michigan State, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I would tell you, if they're 3-3, that could be pretty good. Anything better than 3-3, and UCLA's having a good season. So we'll see. I mean, they got to go to UN. They got to go to UNLV. We'll see if they're any good. UNLV was pretty good last year. All right, let's take a timeout. Again, I think the winner is Joey Aguilar. I hope it works out for him at Tennessee, and I know App State fans are rooting for him. All right, Texas State let one slip away, flat out. They had the Longhorns not once, not twice, but 3 times, and could not put them away. We'll talk about that when we come back, right after I tell you about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery and bourbon. Now I budget much smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right. So, as I mentioned, I was with Chris Gordy doing Locked On SEC, talking about Joey Aguilar, and so I didn't tune into the ball game until later on. And we're talking Texas State and Texas, and it was 5-4 Texas State in the 5th. And unfortunately, they had given up a 4 spot with 2 unearned runs, right? They could have got out of that inning. Let me make sure if I get this right. They could have got out of the 5th with leading 5, or what would have been, 4-2, as Texas State does get 1 back in the 5th. So I probably tuned in the 6th, where they hit a grand slam. Chase Mora hits a grand slam, giving Texas State a 9-4 lead through 6. 9-4 lead through 6. Didn't last. And they didn't go away. Either you got to give Texas some credit as well. Texas scores 4 in the 7th to make it 9-8. Texas State puts 2 more on the board to make it 11-8. Texas comes back with 2 more with a home run. I think they hit 2 grand slams and a 2-run shot in the 8th to make it 11-10. And Texas State drives one to the wall in right field with a couple of runners on. That would have been either a 3-run home run or some insurance runs, but it was 11-10 heading to the 9th. It became 14-10 before they got an out. Not great. Texas State brought in a starter in Jesus Tovar, and he struggled. They used their closer in the 8th inning, who gave up a 2-run home run. And so they went to the starting pitching, Tovar, and he didn't get anybody out. Officially charged with 1 hit, 4 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks. Faced 4 batters. Ouch. So he walks the leadoff man. Third baseman commits an error. You got runners on at first and second. They do pull off the double steal, where Texas State sort of bobbled the ball around, kind of one-hop the throw to second base. That got away from the second baseman, but the shortstop was backing it up so the runners don't advance. It was a really good at-bat to Galvin, who walked. He battled. Tovar battled, but he ended up walking him. And then Flores with a grand slam. And that was your ball game, unfortunately. And I do believe it was a 3-run home run in the 7th. So there were 2 grand slams in this ball game. one by each team, and the grand slam by Texas saves them from losing to Texas State twice in one season. Now, let's see, out of curiosity, the Texas State's, would it be out of the realm of possibility that Texas State's RPI went up with a loss to the number one team in the nation? I mean, I doubt it, but these things work oddly. RPI is 86 as of today. Let's see what it was. I got to go to RPI. So they're 86. It did and went up one. They were 87. According to Warren Nolan, their RPI went up one with a loss to the number one team in the nation. Imagine what would have happened if they won. That's going to be a tough one to swallow. If they could have swept the Texas Longhorns, and again, baseball is not like basketball or football where you can try harder. Baseball is like golf. You can't try harder. You can't grip the bat firmer. You can't try and throw harder. You need to relax, right? I probably talked about this before, but if you remember Kevin Youkilis at the plate, he's trying to relax his hands more than gripping the bat. So you do have to give credit for Texas. They very easily could have rolled over. I mean, I know they're the number one team in the nation for a reason, but they were getting their butts kicked, and they kept on coming. At the same time, Texas State has got to be looking at themselves saying, what the heck happened there? I mean, they blew it. They blew it. That would have been a huge win for the Texas State Bobcats. All right, a little bit of a short segment. We'll come back and go over the rest of the midweek action. A couple of games got canceled. I think Southern Miss and the Cajuns got canceled. And App State with another tough loss. We'll talk about that when we come back after I thank you. All right, we're slowly getting up over 1,900 subscribers. Another big day in views, 1,200 views. So we're looking forward to making more shorts. That's you guys are picking up on that, or else I'm just hitting the algorithm correctly. And rumors have it that I will have a football coach on Thursday's episode. This has been a interesting way to schedule somebody, but I have not heard back, and so he's supposed to come on the show, and we will certainly let people know who's coming on. I don't want to quite jinx it right now because I still have hope that he's going to do it, and we've been trying to get this coach on for a long time. Certainly a lot to talk to him about. So we'll preview that, and then next week I will say Ricky Ronnie from ODU is supposed to come on. Hopefully we can work that out in my schedule and his schedule. He's always been very gracious with his time. So we're looking forward to doing more of that. Let's get back to it. App State with a tough loss. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. I did wait until Wednesday, and it's going to be a little bit late by the time I post this, because I wanted to wait for the baseball to finish up. And I mean, by the time I would have recorded it, would have been in bed over midnight. So, although not working today, I wanted to wait, and you get the natural light. I like the natural light. And anyways, App State with a tough loss, unfortunately, to East Tennessee. And we need to find out. We sort of talked about that. I'm not sure. Was that a brutal loss or not? Let's see. Because, let's see. It was 13-6. Not great by any stretch of the imagination, right? I mean, it was 6-0 before App State got on the board. They gave up 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third. They also committed 10 errors. They also left 10 men on base. East Tennessee State did the same, but not a great game by App State by any stretch of the imagination. And all right, so let's see here. This would be the easiest way. let's see where App State is. They've fallen down to 177. Remember, this team was 144. And their last two losses have come. Well, East Tennessee State's pretty good. They got RPI 50. So that would have been a nice win for App State. They didn't fall too much. But they do have two losses back to back. The James Madison loss is really inexcusable, although it is tough to sweep. And East Tennessee State would have been a nice win. That would have been a nice win. So it's not a crushing win, not a crushing loss, but doesn't help. Would have helped the Sun Belt in a big way, and App State just didn't play very well at all. Did not play very well at all. All right, other scores from Tuesday. Marshall takes care of Morehead State 10-0 in 7 innings. Big win for them. And Coastal Carolina fell to College of Charleston, and that's not a great loss either. I told you, College of Charleston hadn't scored any runs against my guy Mike Lavin and the Northeastern Huskies. I'm not talking didn't score a few runs. I'm scoring 0 runs in a weekend series, and Coastal Carolina loses to them 4-2. Now it's at College of Charleston. I'm a big believer that baseball is actually the only place that has home field advantage because the home team gets the last ups. But nonetheless, let's see how much that hurt Coastal. Because remember, Coastal was going for first of all, they're going for a national seed. Then they're going for hosting. And Coastal, they did not move. They're still 13th in Warren Nolan. Let me make sure that's right. That's interesting. Coastal Carolina did not move after their loss against College of Charleston. All right. So it did not hurt them. I'm a little bit surprised at that because College of Charleston I thought they were in the 130s. Interesting. College of Charleston's now 115 because they beat Coastal is how that works out, right? Let's see. Funny how that works out. Let's see how much they jumped because they beat a top 20 Coastal team. College of Charleston jumped 23 spots. There you go. Now that's a big spot. That helps Northeastern out because Northeastern went to 33. And that's not helping out with the Troys and the Southern Misses, right? So Northeastern's 33, Troy is 37, Southern Miss is 41. And again, I'm just keeping track of Northeastern because I'm friends with Mike Lapp. All right. Is that a name drop? But they're right in there. I mean, there's some other teams in there, right? Western Kentucky's 35, Duke is 38, Kansas State is 39, A&M is 40, Notre Dame 42. McNeese took it on the chin yesterday against like a non-Division I foe. They only dropped 5 spots, which is kind of odd. But a missed opportunity for Coastal to get what should have been, I say should have been an easy win, but it turned out not to be the case. So they made it 3-2, but then College of Charleston tacked one on in the bottom half of the 8th, and that sort of ended the rally. Coastal had all kinds of opportunities, 2 runs on 12 base hits. That is not like Coastal Carolina. And how many walks did Charleston give up? They only gave up 2 walks. Still, that's 14 base runners and only 2 runs. That is very non-College of Charleston-like. Georgia State with a win 4-0 over West Georgia. Florida did hammer Georgia Southern. Not much of a ball game. That was all Gators, 12-1 over Georgia Southern. Troy survives Alabama State, 12-10. And Arkansas State takes care of Memphis, 8-6. All right. So, quickly, let me see what that RPI, if it changed at all conference-wise for the Sun Belt. Well, how about this? The American Athletic fell in a big way. So the Southland is now behind the Sun Belt interestingly. There's much more breathing room there. And the Sun Belt is still about just under 0.004 behind Conference USA to get to 6th. Now, I'm just looking. The idea is if you're the 6th best conference outside of Oregon State, you could contend you're 5th in the nation, and you got a team that's in the top 40, probably should get in that large berth. All right. And that's going to matter more if you're the 5th best conference or the 6th best conference, as it turns out. All right. And so games like App State losing to East Tennessee would have helped, right? Texas State beating Texas would have absolutely helped. All right. I mean, they may have been in there ahead of Conference USA with those 2 wins, just those 2 wins. So we'll see. All right. Today, coming up in Sun Belt play, James Madison's at Virginia. All right. Marshall going back to Moorhead to be a home-and-home series. All right. So see if Marshall can sweep Moorhead. Texas State's got to lick their wounds and going to take on Tarleton State. That's got letdown game written all over it, right? You can take your frustrations out on Tarleton, but that feels like that just kind of feels like it's a letdown game. And I want to see where Tarleton is here. Tarleton is 226. All right. It just feels like that's a letdown game. How do you get back up after you? It's one thing if you lose like Georgia Southern to 12-1 and get your punch kicked and you forget about it and move on. But Texas State not could have won that game, should have won that baseball game. So they got a rebound from that. All right. Elsewhere in the Sun Belt, Cajuns and I do know Cajuns were canceled. That game with Grambling will not be played. Bad storms. They are taking on Nichols tonight. ULM is at Louisiana Tech. Someone said Southern Miss also had a 5-game week. They will not because their game got presumed canceled yesterday. Now they'll take on Southeastern today, and South Alabama is at New Orleans. So there's a couple teams here with 5-game weeks. Texas State will have a 5-game week. Maybe that's about it. Troy's not playing. ULM didn't play yesterday. Marshall would have a 5-game week. All right. So couple schools having a 5-game a week. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I will let you know, social media, if the college football coach comes on the show. It'll be a good one. I would not. They're all good, but been trying to get this gentleman for a minute now. So hopefully he will come on and join us for Thursday's episode of Locked On Sunbelt. All right. I do appreciate your patience today. This will get posted as probably after the recording of the football coach. So do appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. And look forward to talking to everybody on Thursday. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll be back tomorrow.